Alright, Shalom. Shalom. This is your brother Issachar coming back at you with another lesson. First and foremost, I like to give all praises, all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashum, Yahweh Shai, Bahashum, Wakak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone, peace and blessings to the hopeful elect, and to the 144,000 scattered across the four corners of the earth. Shalom to you. Alright, in today's lesson, we're going to go into hyperinflation on, how Trump's, the U.S. is already going at it with China with this trade war. So, the average American citizen out here is going to be impacted severely, especially those who have children, because it's going to be hard enough for someone to survive out here. But how much more those those of you women out there who are pregnant, those of you who have small children, so that's all, that all adds to it, so this is why the Lord, says, woe unto thee, because, pray for yourselves and for your children, because, it's gonna be very tough out here, a lot more harder than what people think, because the Lord's bringing harsh judgments across the whole world. So it's gonna be a very terrible time, very terrible. It's like Trump said, the calm before the storm, because that's really coming, because these elites are really gonna clamp down on society and start bringing in their legislatives, their executive orders, their draconian laws. But not only that, you got the Lord bringing in plagues, going to start, judging his earth. So people are going to start getting judged. So it's a very heavy time. And, your average, American citizen out here, they're living, check by check. They may have maybe one check to the side for a rainy day, but your average American citizen out here is living check by check. They're depending on that check. Because you got a few people who are rich, who got some money, but that's a few. But remember, once the society collapses, once the dollar collapses, it doesn't matter if somebody has $1 million in the bank account. It's good for nothing. Even those of you who are stocking up in gold, that's cool, like when there's stuff to trade out here. All right, because gold is very valuable, right? But once there's no food out here, who's going to want gold? Yeah, someone might take it, but, you can't really trade with that, because if there's no food, what are you going to buy? You can have all the money in the world. You can have the Bugatti, the Mercedes. You can have the, what's that? Oh, the Tesla. You can have the Tesla. You can have it all, The $2 million house on the hill. All that. But it's good for nothing, because your power's going to be shut off. Your gas is going to be shut off. Your water's going to be shut off. And there's going to be no food. So it doesn't matter if you have $1 million in the bank account. It's good for nothing, because once there's no food out here, even gold. All right, gold will be okay, but once there's still a society, because gold is worth a lot. It's worth a lot of money. But even gold and silver, once the society collapses, even gold and silver is not worth. You can't, because how can you get food? Let's say if there's no food out here. Yeah, let's say if you have 100 pounds of gold, 50 pounds of gold, pure gold. That's cool. You may have gold and all, but can you get food? Can you get anything with it? You can't get nothing. Because if there's nothing out here, this is why the Lord, and I'll get it next after this precept, riches profit not in the day of the Lord's wrath. So it doesn't matter, and the rich people, they're going to feel it even harder, because they're used to being comfortable. They're not used to going through any hardships. They're not used to going without. There's some that are that are prepping, because you got some preppers out there, but that's only a few, but your your majority of people out here who are who have money, they're gonna feel it even worse. And not saying like, there's nothing bad with that, having money, because there's nothing bad with that. If you have money, that's not what the scriptures say, okay? Because if you have money, it doesn't mean that you're evil and that's a bad thing, because you can do good things with money. It's just that the root of money is all evil. That means if your foundation is money, because all you do is worship money, you're all about money, then yeah, and why is that bad? Because you forget about the Lord. All right, but like let's say you believe in the Lord, and you're a hustler, you're out there getting it, you're out there getting it and stuff like that. Then yeah, that's fine. Remember, there's nothing wrong with having money, you know. So that's why you have to understand the scriptures, because some people say, well, hey man, that's bullshit. They're saying the root of evil, the money's root of all evil. Remember, because there's people that have money, but they do good things with it. They help out, and they have, they're not necessarily bad people, but it's just that the majority of people who have money, that's all they think about is money, and then they forget about the Lord. You see? All right, so a lot of the people who do have money, they're gonna suffer more. And why is that? It's because they're not used to going without. They're not used to being uncomfortable. Maybe like in their prime, they had to work real hard to get that business going and all that stuff. But now, I mean, they live comfortably for a long time, because they always got that heater on, they always got that AC on, they got the fan, they got snacks, coffee, everything, at arm's reach. So that makes somebody complacent because you're comfortable, and the time that we're entering, remember, people are going to have to go without. You're going to have to be very uncomfortable. St. Luke chapter 21, verse 26, men's heart failing them for fear, and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken. Right. So men's heart failing them for fear, because people are going to have heart attacks, because that's why a lot of people kind of scoff at it right now. They laugh at it like, yeah, right, this society's going to collapse. Yeah, right, America's going to be forever. Well, that's on you, buddy. Because in their eyes, they weren't given to see it. So that's why it's like a joke. Like, yeah, right, stop with this dystopian nonsense. People have been saying that it's the end of the world and all that. Yeah, it's not. The planet's not going to explode, but the people who are ruling right now, they're going to slavery. See that? But to this world, it's hard for people to grasp that, because they're like, yeah, right, that's not going to happen. Get that shit out of here. Well, that's fine. But remember, this is coming from the Lord, And all the signs now are evident. World War III, all right, the trade wars. I mean, you see it. All right, America, you had Americans nationwide, okay, protesting about Elon Musk and Trump. Just to show you that it's Whitey versus Whitey, okay, because you even got Americans versus Americans, because it's not just the foreigners. If you look around, there's a problem everywhere. You got a problem with the economy. You got a problem with these other nations, trade wars, Russia, NATO, even the U.S. allies got a problem with America. Okay, of course, Americans, they have a problem with the foreigners, people coming in through the border, right? Okay, it's understandable. And you also got Americans, they hate each other too. And they hate their own president. They hate their own leaders. There's nothing but hate here. That's it. So what does that mean? That means that this place is ready for the picking. The harvest is ripe. Because America is very strong, but it's through because it's divided. Because people don't see eye to eye. See that? So there's going to be a great civil war. Not only that, you got sleeper cells all throughout here. Teams, UN troops, you name it. They're here. All right. Other nations, they're here deep. See? So every, when the world looks at America, it's just like a laughingstock now, because you have, it's just like, damn, they're making enemies, even with their allies, Canada and Mexico, even the NATO and the EU are turning against America. All right, you got Russia coming against America, China, Iran. It's like, dang. And then when of course, you got Americans, talking about the foreigners, they want to get them out of here. Remember, that's understandable. Then not only that, you got Americans protesting about their own president and Elon Musk, saying hands off. See, because they don't even agree with their own leaders. But that's not every American. Some people like Trump and Elon Musk. See, that's why there's going to be a real civil war there, because there's a lot of Americans who really like Trump a lot and think that Trump is their savior, and they're going to fight for that, Yep. It's very real. Very real. Men's heart failing them for fear and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth. Yeah, because the things that are going to be happening, people wouldn't believe, like, damn, I never thought that would happen, because it's going to be so breathtaking, so like such a shocker. It's just going to be like, damn, like people are going to be like to themselves, like, man, like we weren't expecting this, like, we're probably thinking that we're going to have a little setback, but not like this. Because remember, America's not just going to have a little accident, a little fender bender. It's going to have a total, man, what do you call that? When, like when a car is like completely through, all right, it's just going to be completely totaled. It's going to be just gone, from America having everything to like no worries, everybody's cool. Everybody can do whatever they want at any time, any hour, to nothing, all out chaos and war. Because remember, that's how the Lord's very patient, but the Lord he's bringing these things little by little. But when he brings them, they're very severe. For the powers of heaven shall be shaken. Right, because the leaders now it's evident, because it's now made clear that this place is circling the drain. All right, so now people are noticing, like, oh, like this is real. You have to be a real dummy not to see, all right, what's going on. Yeah, because you have to be like totally lost in the sauce to not see what's going on, See, so those who are paying attention, they know that, it's about to go down. That's why, like, the American patriots, the American Bible Belts, they know. That's why they're prepping, because you have doomsday preppers and all that. But the thing they don't account for is the Lord and the angels. Yeah, because they're talking about, the government, all that, the elites, and that's cool, because they're right on that point, they're right there. But see, they only go so far. But the thing they don't talk about is, what about the Lord and the angels? Okay, some might mention, because you got like some Christians out there, that, they know, like, hey, the second coming, stuff like that, but they're not really on point. But they know that, they know about the chip being the MARK, all right, the hour of temptation. They know about that, so people are waking up, So, yeah, you're going to have a lot of people who are going to go against it, But these elites are ready for that. And remember, these elites, they have teams out here, because there's so many people waking up now. What they're doing now is that the elites, they have teams out here, and they're just keeping track of who's who, of what people are watching, what people are studying, because they're putting people in categories. That way, when the elites make their move, they're going to know, okay, like these people, we have to take them down like by brutal force. These people right here, we can just starve them out. These people right here, we can just kind of re-educate them. They're putting everybody in lists. That's all they're doing. That's why, like, the elites, they're just sitting back, and they got all their agents out here just putting people in categories of what they're going to do with certain people. All right, these people, they're going to take into concentration camps. These people, they're going to sacrifice them. These people over here, they're going to starve them out. These people, they're awake, so we have to come in with the guns. That's all they're doing right now. They're just doing their homework right now. That's it, and just taking notes. But once they roll, they're gonna know who to hit and how to hit them. Remember that, because they're keeping track of everybody who's waking up. So you gotta understand that, You gotta understand that these elites are watching everything, everything. But that's all right, because the Lord and the angels are watching them. Facts. You see? So that's one thing, Although the elites are watching the people, the Lord and the angels are watching the elites, are saying, go for it, make your move, Sally. You see that? So that's why we rejoice, because there's a power that's higher than the elites. So this is why we don't fear the elites. We know that it's coming, and we're not sure if we'll make it, but we put our fear in the Lord. We don't fear these elites. And that's a big hell no. All right? Because we believe in the Lord. Proverbs chapter 11, verse 4. Riches profited not in the day of the Lord. Riches profit not in the day of wrath. But see that? So riches profit not in the day of wrath. So when the Lord judges this place, remember, it don't matter if somebody has $1 million or whatever. I mean, yeah, you may be able to stock up on some more food, whatever, but I mean, once the Lord comes for you, that's it, But righteousness delivereth from death. See that? So repent, because this is what the prophets are telling you guys to repent out there. Because rich people right now, I mean, yeah, they may be able to live life a little bit easier, but it's not gonna matter. Once these judgments come, everybody's gonna be because remember, the Lord don't care who you are. Okay, it don't matter if you got $5 million in the bank account. If you're driving around with a Bugatti, the Lord don't care about you. All right, unless you're part of the elect. But it just means by that, that's not gonna help you. All right, yeah. Because remember, once the angels roll, because the Lord has death angels out here. It don't matter, if you have a big old house, if you have an underground bunker and you're all prepared, the angels can just go in there. Remember, the angels can teleport. They can go through walls. They can go through anything, instant transmission. So, all that prepping, yeah, that hides you from soldiers, but that don't hide you from the Lord and the angels. You know what I'm saying? You can't hide from the Lord and the angels. That's what you have to get that through your guys' mind. So like these people, when they, like rich people, it's it's all right now because they're living life, a little bit more comfortably, a little bit more lavishly. But once these judgments hit, it's not going to matter at all. Proverbs 11:4. Riches profit not in the day of wrath, but righteousness delivereth from death. Right there. All right. But righteousness delivereth from death. Because, repent. This is what, it's very, very important right there of what the scripture's saying here. All right, because if you have remember, like if you have gold and stuff like that, that's okay when there's a society, because gold you can get thousands of dollars, even millions of dollars, depending on how much gold you have. But once there's no more society out here, even if you have gold, I mean, people are, because in that day, once there's no more food and all that, your main resource is gonna be water, food, and protection. It's gonna go back to the old ways, to trading. Oh, remember that movie, I Am Legend? What was it? I Am Legend? Oh no, the Book of Eli. Remember that movie, the Book of Eli, when the society collapsed and people were barely surviving, and he goes, hey, how much for water? And then Denzel went to the bar. Remember, he goes, hey, how much for water? He goes, oh, that's the good stuff, because that is gonna be precious. Water, food, because when there's no more society out here, people are just gonna want protection, food and water. That's gonna be it right there. Because when it's time to survive, ain't no one don't give a damn if you're, if you have gold or if you have millions of dollars. It's not gonna be good for nothing. Because once the dollar bill is no bueno, you can't do nothing with it. All right, it's just a green piece of paper. You see? So that's why, in that Book of Eli, it went back to the old days. Because what were they doing? How did he get water and stuff? Remember, he was giving them gloves, they were trading, like, okay, I can use this battery. All right, hey, I can use these boots. All right, what do you got? Okay, well, shoot, I got a jacket. That's how it's gonna be, like that, like, okay, well, what do you got? Okay, I got a can of beans. What do you got? All right, I got whatever. I got a bottle of water. A bottle of water. What do you have? Okay, I got some rice over here. I got some matches. That's how it's gonna be. Okay. And this time. All right. And this time it's gonna be just like that. All right. When society collapses, it's gonna go back to the old ways, to trading. Like, because how did he get that water? Remember, Denzel. Remember, how did he get that water? He got it by um he got it by um he got it by he gave that guy some gloves. Remember? All right. He goes, oh yeah, I can use these. Because that's how it's gonna be. Whatever somebody can use, you know, then. All right, because that's how it was, because people, what did they really need? They needed somewhere to rest, for the next day, maybe get a little bit of food and water, and now that's pretty much it, and to keep it pushing, So that's exactly how it's gonna be, because yeah, like, let's say somebody has gold, it's, people ain't really gonna want that, because it's gonna be all about survival out here. So inflation, okay, inflation. So what's gonna happen? Those of you that, especially that sell, let me see here. Those of you that sell like meat, okay, like chicken, meat. All right, especially those of you who have like trucks, stuff like that. It's gonna be very hard, because those of you guys that sell any type of food, okay, especially like meat and stuff like that, with when hyperinflation hits, it's gonna be very very difficult, because at 1 hour, hyperinflation, once hyperinflation hits, okay, 1 hour, the meat can be the meat can be, it can be, like, let's say people get meat for like $8 a pound, right? Whatever it is, like, beef, whatever it is. All right, then you'll have hyperinflation, because it'll change. Like, let's say in the morning, you bought that meat, whatever. You bought that steak, ground beef for $8 a pound, whatever. All right, but at 12 o'clock in the afternoon that same day, that same meat that you paid, what was it, like $8 for a pound? Okay, it can go up to $50 a pound. All right, so in hyperinflation, people that sell meat, what they're gonna have to do is they're not gonna have to put no prices on their menus, because when hyperinflation hits, it's gonna be like a roller coaster out here, because you're gonna have meats, all right, because it's gonna go up and down by the hour, and by drastic measures, by a lot. So that's what you have to realize, because people who sell meat, it's just like a little FYI, because you're not going to be able to put a price, like, okay, like, let's say, for instance, you're going to sell some meat, right? Like, let's say you're going to sell some let's say somebody was going to sell like four chicken tacos, right? For like 4 chicken tacos for $15.99, right? But when that hyperinflation hits, remember, that meat, let's say that the owner of that business bought that meat for, the chicken for what, $5 a pound, whatever, right? But when hyperinflation hits, okay, it can now go from $5 a pound to $55 a pound. So if that if that these people who charge, like let's say, remember they charge what, $4, $15.99 for 4 tacos. You know what I'm saying? That is, they're gonna lose all kinds of profit, because remember, at 8 o'clock, that chicken they bought it for what, $5 a pound, right? But um, but at 12 o'clock, now that went up to $55 a pound. So they're not gonna be able to make money. All right, so it's gonna you'll see that people who sell meats, because they're gonna have to do that. People that sell food, they're not gonna put no prices on their menu, because when hyperinflation hits, it's gonna be like a roller coaster. All right, because if they put prices on their menus, they have to sell at that price, so they're gonna lose their business fast. So they're gonna have to just have the food menu up there, and then just charge because inflation is gonna be up and down. Like, it's gonna be like a roller coaster out here. All right, so a lot of people with their food menus, okay, they're not gonna be able to they're not gonna have to put prices, okay, on their menus. All right, because that's how expensive it's gonna be if they want to stay in business for a little bit before it all is all said and done. Because remember, eventually it's all gonna crash. All right, it's all gonna go down. So that's something that, just to prepare yourselves to see. All right, because people who sell that, like meats and stuff like that, food, whatever, they're not gonna have to put they're just gonna put like their like 4 tacos, whatever. Just put a plate of, chicken and rice, whatever it may be. Like whether it's Mediterranean food, Chinese food, whatever, pizza, because like the cost of cheese, let's say is, whatever, $5. But at 1 o'clock that same day, cheese can go up like $80. All right, so hyperinflation is going to be remember, it's not just going to be like, oh, it's a little expensive. Remember, it's going to be bananas out here. Before that dollar collapses, the cost of everything is going to be bananas. Isaiah chapter 19 verse Isaiah chapter 19 verse 1. The burden of Egypt, so that means the burden of America. Behold, the Lord rideth upon a swift cloud. So Yahushua is coming with the angels and those so-called UFOs, the so-called UAPs, which are the chariots of Israel. All right, those are the chariots for Israel, the Israelites. Okay, but they're only coming for the elect, and shall come into Egypt, because the Lord is actually gonna come here. All right, He's not just gonna show His face in the sky. Remember, the Lord is gonna arrive here. All right, He's coming down here, 10 toes down. All right, to put Esau, these Edomites and heathens into slavery. All right, those who He wants to save, out of the heathens, He's gonna put chains on them. And they're gonna be first crops of slavery. But those who He don't want to save, He's gonna zap them to powder. They're gonna be vaporized from the lasers from the ships. Okay. And the idols of Egypt shall be moved at His presence. Because now the leaders are freaking out, because now they see the ships. Now it's like, okay, they don't talk about it, but remember a couple weeks back how SpaceX blew up. The angels blew up that. The angels surrounded it, but these elites don't even talk about it. You see, because they're frightened. Because now the Lord's showing His presence. Yeah. So now these elites are they still get mad and stuff, but back of their mind they're like, oh shit, because I mean, how can you not be afraid, because there's a power out there that they can't even comprehend, they can't even match it, they can't even fight it, even if they tried. Can you imagine how scared they are? If they say they're not scared, they're lying, because you imagine there's a power out there where you don't even know how it works. You're like, damn, and you tell me these dudes ain't scared? They're petrified. Why do you think these dudes are going underground? They still have their agendas, New World Order and all that, but they see the ships. They know like, oh snap, Remember, Esau, he's a professional liar. Okay, so he might say like, oh, he ain't scared, but inside, these leaders, they're frightened, they're terrified. I don't care how you slice it. Because who wouldn't be? You know. And the heart of Egypt shall melt in, and the heart of Egypt shall melt in the mist, America, because the foundations are crumbling. And you're seeing these wars happen. You're seeing what is it? You're seeing hyperinflation hit. It's gonna hit. Right now we're in inflation, but with these trade wars happening with China, all right, that's gonna be hyperinflation. Isaiah chapter 19 verse 2, and I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians. That's American versus American, and they shall fight everyone against his brother. All right, everyone against his brother, because a lot of people are going to be fighting out here. It's not just the elites, it's not just the nations, it's not just American versus American, but even people in their families, in their own households, because people are going to be fighting for your basic essentials to survive. Remember what happened in COVID-19? All right, that pandemic happened. A lot of people weren't like communicating with each other. A lot of people weren't were distant even from their own family. That's how it's gonna be. And everyone against his neighbor. Why? Because your basic essentials, are gonna be cut off. City against city, war, civil war. That's what's coming right now, very soon. And kingdom against kingdom, World War III, which you can clearly see. America versus Iran, America versus China, America versus Russia. You see? At the end of the day, the whole world's at war, but, if just do process of elimination, the whole world's coming up against America. Why? Because the Lord is going to overthrow America, little by little, step by steps. See? Isaiah chapter 19 verse 3, and the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof, and I will destroy the counsel thereof, and they shall seek to the idols and to the charmers, and to them that have familiar spirits, and to the wizards. Right, because the leaders of this world are going to witches and warlocks for advice. They're not repenting. They're not praying to the Lord, like, please help us. Okay, they may get on TV and say that, but they're not. Okay, the leaders here worship Satan and Baphomet. All right, why do you think the Lord is coming to destroy it? All right, if they were with the Lord would tell his prophets, the prophets would tell you, yeah, okay, the leaders, they're trying to repent, so the Lord's going to give them a little bit more time. No, the Lord's going to tell you exactly what's going on. All right, the leaders here are Satanists. Okay, they believe in Satan and Baphomet. Okay, Molech and Baal. That's what you got to understand. All right. St. Matthew chapter 19 verse 4, and the Egypts will I give over into a hand of a cruel Lord. Yeah, that's Trump. Okay, because Trump's gonna bring in group executions. He's trying to bring all this in. He can start putting people into concentration camps. All of that. A fierce king shall rule over them, said the Lord, Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai. So this is what's coming. Okay, because the Lord's gonna put that cruel Lord, which is Trump, because Trump don't give a damn. So that's why Trump is perfect for that job. But it's not necessarily up to the elites, because the elites they pick the presidents. All right, because the presidents are not elected; they're selected. But ultimately, before the elites pick them, who's in control of everything? The Lord. So the Lord has DJ Trump in there, perfectly setting this place on fire, and he's doing a good job. I mean, just look what he's done so far. Look at how many enemies he created so far. Look at what he did right away with the foreigners. Right away, deported them. Just to show you, this man, he don't give a damn. He's going for it. So he's perfect to bring chaos. He's perfect to shut down America. He's going to collapse the dollar bill. He's making enemies with America, but he talks real good, like, oh, everything's gonna be okay. It's not. Remember that, because some people say, yeah, what Trump's doing is good. Like, okay, yeah, what he's doing is good for America. Okay, but there's just no evidence of it. See, so right now the leaders are pretty much saying, well, just pretty much like believe in them and they got it under control. It's like, dude, you guys don't got it under control. This place is a shit show. It's circling the drain. But the leaders, because remember, they're full of pride. They're up there just like, oh yeah, it's all good. We're going to work on it. Everything's going to be fine. It's not going to be fine. The American people are in great danger. Great danger. You see? But that's it on today's lesson on hyperinflation and on the time of civil wars. It's very important because we're entering that next. That's what and that's gonna be around the world. That's gonna be around the whole world, but mainly right here in America. All right. You're gonna start seeing that. Give it a couple of weeks. Because it's already in effect that the U.S. It's already official, so to speak, that the U.S. and China are on a trade war. So, but it takes a little time, Just give it, like a couple weeks. All right. Give it a couple of weeks, and then you're gonna see everything from your vegetables to your fruits to gas. Everything is gonna start costing more. So with that, stay prayed up. Stay on your watch. Repent, for the kingdom of heaven's at hand. On your feet, soldier. Shalom.